welcome to Peace Punk Production. This is Kat Bambini talking about narcissism as per usual, and today I want to talk about narcissists and cooperation. Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you that watches this, whether you're making fun of me, whether you're learning about narcissism, whether you're spreading this information to your communities, which is my ultimate goal, is to spread information about narcissism so that we can heal on a community level. I am not opposed to narcissists. As I said in my last video, I speak to narcissists and a non-narcissist, but mainly because I am a victim of narcissistic abuse, I do speak to victims, and I am giving information to victims about narcissists, which narcissists are not giving to their victims. And so narcissists a lot of times don't cooperate. They don't cooperate with society. They are definitely doing things that are shady. They're not all manipulators, but it's pretty much a trait. They tend to be manipulative, and I've never met a good narcissist. I've never met a narcissist who was not taking advantage of people, manipulating, lying, stealing, misrepresenting who they are, spending a lot of time observing other people and projecting on them their own insecurities, issues, needs, and fears. So they are basically unevolved. And I am really hoping that we can all evolve together and that narcissists can learn to change. Like I say in many of my videos, people say narcissists can't change, that's part of the disorder, but the mind is very malleable and people are constantly surprising, even when they've had the DSM diagnosis of, various disorders. Maybe they didn't fit it, maybe it's whatever. But I'm not going to give hope to victims and say that their narcissist is going to change. They're not. Just sit with that. I am going to throw out there, though, that I hope that society can change on a group level to advocate for these people when they are not wanting to hurt other people, because I think that we're too antagonistic and we don't need to be accepting abuse. We don't need to be not setting boundaries because these are people that are not cooperating with us, they're not being upfront. But at the same time, I'm going to call out society and say that a lot of times society is not calling out narcissists, and people are enabling them. Around every narcissist, you will find flying monkeys and enablers who are supporting the system that the narcissist is in, whether it's a family, whether it's a church, whether it's a workplace. And so you will always find these people around the narcissist, which is what makes it extra difficult to get away from. If it was just the narcissist, we're giving a lot of heat to just the narcissist. If it was just the narcissist doing things to manipulate and shame and blame and abuse people and generally using coercive control to get what they want through a patriarchal system in America, tends to be a lot of men. There are a lot of women who are narcissists too, though, and there's a lot of people advocating about that. So check out Wounded Empathetic Thoughts. He has a podcast, he has an Instagram account. He's the only person I know that really speaks about female narcissists, to the level that he got hurt by a female narcissist and is advocating for other people to overcome this. So I talk a lot about male narcissists, I talk a lot about narcissists in general, I talk about overt and covert narcissists. I just made a video on that, defining the difference between overt and covert narcissists. There are many different types of narcissists, but that's just two. And when I want to talk about cooperation, I want to talk about society and healing, and my business, Peace Punk Production, is all about healing. Now, we haven't launched yet. This is just, these videos are a tester to see what happens in the world. Currently looking for other work, doing everything I can to make money other ways, working with the government, to get off of pandemic support like everybody else. But I will say that this is something I'm doing out of the kindness of my heart right now to educate and advocate for everybody who wants to live a nonviolent life who's been affected by narcissists. And I'm just putting this out there. So far it's grown. I've gotten so much love and support back in spite of me making tons of mistakes. and being really mean to narcissists. I was very, very mean. I did a lot of things that were very alienating and hurtful. But narcissists don't feel empathy, so it probably just hurt their social standing or structure, and I apologize for those. And it started talking more general instead of personal. So I'm just reiterating that every time because I know family and friends pop in here. They're like, what is she saying? I did say a lot of things that were very like, whoa, when I lost my shit after leaving a situation where I was dealing with this in many different... I'm sorry about the sirens. There's always noise here in San Francisco, very close to the action. So there's always noise, and somebody has said that they couldn't hear me before, so I have earphones in just so I'm speaking louder than normal. Hopefully you can hear me. I also try not to irritate the neighbors. I don't have any special studio setting here. I'm just a normal Joe like you guys watching this, just a normal human being trying to educate on something that I know a lot about because I've dealt with it. I can't speak about who specifically I've dealt with it with because that's a slander issue, but I will speak to it in general, and I will speak to my experience in a general way, and I also will encourage anybody watching this, whether you're a narcissist or not a narcissist, to seek help. There are people here who can help you. There's helpers in this world like me, and educators who just the only thing that we love to do is help you, but you have to do some things yourself. You have to have your basic, self-care. I've made a video about that. There are lots of videos about rebuilding after the narcissist and things that you have to look forward to, which they're not very reassuring. I am a nihilist, existentialist, Taoist kind of person, so I really do believe in like the Tao and like up and down, yin and yang, like nothing's all perfect. You can't be all light. Like, I say I'm a light worker, but I'm not all light. I have a lot of dark too. Everybody does. We have light and dark together. You can't be one or the other. You're both. You're human. So when we try to do one or the other, we tend to get unbalanced. But definitely, I find that narcissists are very dark characters in that they are choosing, if they know that they have the disorder, to live a life of swindling. And they're choosing to live a life where they are manipulating other people. Now, this may be the only way that they know how to function. And so I do believe it's like a case where if somebody wants to come out of the narcissism lifestyle, it's almost like exiting jail or prison. Like, you've been spending your whole life doing this, so how are you going to come out? And how are you going to come out about it? I would recommend to find somebody who's a professional who deals with narcissism. If you're a couple working with narcissism together, do not go to couples therapy. I'm sorry if the narcissist is watching this with you, just don't. The narcissist will definitely find a way of using that information to abuse you later. That's just what they do. And they don't cooperate as far as what you would want for healing in a therapy session. As far as couples counseling, it's not recommended to go to couples counseling because they're very good, because there's not very many narcissists in the world. Most therapists don't know about them or what they're doing. And so they're generally trained in a schooling that has not updated itself to this really new field that is rapidly developing with a lot of people learning about it. From Dr. Ramani, I always mention her because she's a doctor. On YouTube, you can go to and learn all about it, basically. She has every glossary term that you could think of related to narcissism. I've done a lot just to add my own experience, but I have nowhere near her knowledge base, or she actually works with people on a daily basis who have dealt with the abuse, and she's seen how much they've hurt. She's dealt with it herself. She's actually had narcissists approach her. She's had narcissists come to sessions, and I have heard that tip from everybody, that narcissists don't cooperate. You should go to couples counseling with them because they're going to manipulate. They're going to take that personal information you share. And I've had this happen to me too. I've shared personal information in a counseling session that was then used against me later. And then some weird shit happened that I won't share here, but it was like so off the... It's just what you come to expect when you're dealing with somebody who exhibits these behaviors, is that nothing is going to be normal. There's no normal. This is not normal. There's no normal here. They are always going to do something where they're always going to find the person who's like, I wish I could share examples with you, but I can't. So I won't. But as far as cooperating, they need their own therapist. And they can heal. They can get help. They are not beyond help. If they decide that they need help, they can get help. If they decide that they need help, if they have an intervention, they may just change their behavior temporarily until they can find a way of doing it again, because it's so addicting to them and it's so much a part of who they are, and they do not have a core sense of self. And if anybody knows, if you've had to rebuild your sense of self, which I've had to do, and many people have had to do, when you come from a background where you didn't have the most ideal circumstances for you, not to point fingers at anybody, but many people grew up in an environment that was not ideal for them, and they were constantly being blamed for that environment not being the environment that fit them, right? So this happened to me, and I needed other resources aside from what I had, and so I had certain behavioral issues that now, today, would have been able to be addressed, and I would have gotten a lot of help and had a much healthier life than I had, and I wouldn't have been susceptible to these folks. So this is why I'm educating. That's why I'm trying to cooperate with the public and give out information that's not out there, and just do this every day. I make a video every single day. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it to me, because every day I get new information, every day I get new inspiration, every day new people are finding this and getting help by it. I don't know what it's going to turn into. I'd like it to just grow, but that's not up to me, and you know, it's not up to me. It's up to you guys. It's up to the universe. It's up to me just showing up and doing my best every day, and showing up for you guys, being here and having something that you need. So if I have something that you value and need, then you'll come back. If I don't, you won't. You know, if my tips work for you, you'll come back. If they don't, you won't. That's how it works. So a lot of times you have to just try. Aside from that, you know, I always have to do this because there's new viewers coming every day to the channel, and they want to know what I'm about, what this is about, Peace Punk Production. I named it that because I had a partner once that was a peace punk, and I really liked that name. It was, you know, he's into like the bands that are peace punks, basically, that are about peace. So I'm all about peace, and I may have, you know, rings that are I could kick your ass if I needed to, but I don't do that anymore. Actually, it's all for show. That's show. I cannot, in America, you cannot defend yourself. You'll end up in jail. So I have to be peaceful. It's not even necessarily that I believe that you shouldn't fight back or defend yourself. It's just that when I've ended up in jail. So I don't endorse violence in any way. And so narcissism to me is a form of violence. When narcissists are abusing other people, they are being violent. They are taking away power. They are not cooperating with equality. They are not representing what is accurate in the world, that everybody is equal. We're all equal. And if you don't believe that, hang out. Maybe you'll wake up, or just go somewhere else, because I don't need antagonism here. I don't. It's not gonna. I've had so much. I've had 2 near-death experiences. I've been made fun of, persecuted, put down. I've had my whole communities turn against me. I've had everything as a result of dealing with narcissism. And so if that happens again, I have no problem just retreating and doing something different. So, hey, all you narcissists out there, talk to the person in charge of this world as to why these keep getting out there if you don't like them. For whatever reason, they're needed, they're helping, and maybe you could learn something from them too. This comes straight from the heart. A lot of times I say things that come from the heart. I'm trying to never come from ego. Had a lot of things said about me. I've had a lot of things gone around about me, and a lot of lies and misinformation, which is why I've had to go public as well. And I generally have a sense as a psychic of who is tuning in and who's not. And sometimes I'll change it up a little bit to include those people. And it's, you know, past, present, future exist all at once. If you're into Einstein, if you're into quantum physics, imagination is very important. You need to have an imagination to live in this world. Narcissists do not tend to have an imagination unless they're gaslighting you. And in that case, they have a great imagination for shaming, blaming, putting you down. But they're not going to cooperate with you unless it's for what they want. And even then, there's got to be a point where your needs are not in line, because Say you're with a narcissist, they're cooperating, they're doing everything they want with you. They have no empathy, they do not love you. So do you want that? And if you do, if you love them enough that you can live with somebody who has no empathy for you, doesn't love you, and will always find somebody else or something else because they need supply and they need people to toot their horn and tell them that they're okay, I don't think anybody's okay with that, which is why I think that this information is important, because nobody wants that. Like I've said in other videos, when the mask drops, when you realize that you're with somebody who's not empathetic, who hasn't been cooperating with you, who was just using you, who groomed you to be a certain way so that they could manipulate you and use you and then discard you. And that's the worst part. They discard you. They devalue and discard you after they... So if you're in the beginning stages of a narcissistic relationship right now and they're cooperating, you're like, she doesn't know what she's talking about, but I have a sense something's wrong. Listen to this, and I hope it gets through to you if you're willing to listen to it. They will not be the same person that you're sensing right now later, as far as statistics go, as far as any of the number of victims that are out there that are sharing about it have shared, as far as any of the professionals working with them. They flip, and then even when you leave them, they still hover and they try to get you back no matter what. They will always try to get in between you and another person unless they've totally discarded you. If you're worth something, they'll always come back to them if you're worth something. And that's just supply. You give them some sense of being something in society's eyes. And so you have to be very careful and always keep an entourage around you that's going to protect you from the narcissist if you leave one. And I've made lots of videos about how to do this and who to contact. National Domestic Violence Hotline is a good start. They are educated on this, and you do get different people on the line, so sometimes you might get one person that knows more than the other. So definitely call back if you reach a person who is not relating to you. You can call back and talk to a different person because it's volunteer a lot of the time, so as far as I know. And you may get somebody who doesn't have as much education, so ask them if they know about narcissism. That's a requirement. And get some books. Shahida Arabi, I believe is her name, is a great start. Why Does He Do That by Lundy, L-U-N-D-Y. I always recommend that one. It's just, there are some very abusive men, especially in America, who get away with what they're doing because it's a middle class problem of violence that's still happening. We have a middle class problem of violence, and I learned this information when I had to take a 52-week battery class for fighting back. So I didn't tell any information that would lead to anything happening to my partner. I called for help with the situation, and I ended up going to jail when I called for help. So don't call for help in a domestic violence situation unless you want one of you to be taken to jail. Because the domestic violence hotline, or the domestic abuse law, they have to take somebody, and I didn't know this. Whenever I called the police, I was always told to call the police by the National Domestic Violence Hotline. That's up to you, okay? If your life is in danger, it may be the lesser of two evils to go to jail, actually. So if that happens, you're gonna get through it. But it can put you at an unfair weakness where the abuser can then use that information to abuse you more and to prove that you're now as dangerous as they are, because their MO, because they don't cooperate, is to make you the bad guy and to make you what they are, because they can't see what they are. They're projecting. It's always like it's holding a mirror. They're holding a mirror, you know, always holding a mirror up. Sorry, my mirror is hella dirty. Always holding a mirror up, you know? So you're not seeing you, you're seeing them. So when they're yelling at you, and I'm sorry about the messy mirror, that's so messed up. Just dirty, I don't ever use it. But it's, you know, when they're all, think about that all the time. They're always projecting. They don't know you. They don't know you. They don't see you. You're just something they're using. They can't see you for what you are. They have no empathy. They cannot see you for what you are. They have no empathy. And so therefore they're going to use you. They're not going to cooperate with you, especially when you have your own individual needs and you're trying to set those. They're not going to follow along. So the reason I'm so adamant about this is because you may think that you're different. You're not. You're not different to them. You're not special. So get over that. You need to get over that. That's the number one thing. I couldn't get over that. I always thought I was special. I had a low self-esteem, and so I listened to flattery. I listened to people telling me that I was something when I didn't feel like I was anything. You have to have that in yourself. It has to come from you, or else you're going to be susceptible to these people. You have to have your own compass, follow your own heart, always listen to your own gut, and know what you're about. Don't let somebody come in and tell you what you're about, no matter what, especially if you're a woman. It's very important for you. And I'm so glad I could say this on this channel right now. And I'm so, grateful for the universe that it's allowing me to do this right now. It's just, I'm so grateful, because there was a time where women couldn't do this. And the fact that I, as a woman, can educate you on taking care of yourself and staying away from violent people. So anyways, I took a 52-week battery class, and I learned how these people operate from the people themselves. There were a lot of compassionate criminals in there who actually told me how to love myself, and I could talk to them for real about what was happening, because they weren't family, they weren't friends, they weren't work. They weren't gonna say, what did you do to deserve it? They know how the world works. And so I'm very grateful for that. It was a nightmare year because I was still dealing with shit, but whatever. Now I know that I never get violent. I've done everything I can to learn yin yoga. I do it twice a day. I've changed my whole MO. I've changed my physical makeup basically to where I'm patient and calm as opposed to reactive. I used to be very reactive with narcissists, and since they wouldn't cooperate and they were always antagonistic, when I didn't do what they wanted, I used to just do what they wanted. And when I got to a point where I was nonviolent and I didn't want to do what they wanted anymore because I was educated on what was happening, they got very violent. And so I needed to then remove myself from the situation. And it wasn't just one, it was many. So when I started saying no, there was a lot of heat that came out in my life because people had been used to me being malleable, pliable, their little toy puppet that they could just tell to do whatever and then blame. And I just got sick of it. I was like, I'd rather have no friends, nobody, than deal with this. And so you trust yourself, know yourself. I'm here for you right now. As long as I can do this, this is a gift from me to you and to everybody. And I really hope that we can work this out and figure out how to learn about narcissists. Narcissists can actually start to diagnose and learn how to heal themselves. There's PhD level research that says narcissists can find somebody to trust and build that sense of identity and learn new ways of coping that do not involve manipulating people. If they don't have empathy, that's fine, but there need to be consequences where enablers and flying monkeys do not allow them to do and get away with this stuff. And if you are an enabler or a flying monkey, dude, come step up. What's gonna happen? Are you afraid of losing the attention and support of somebody who is manipulating, lying, cheating, and abusing? Then you need to take a look at yourself. Are you having narcissistic issues? Maybe. And I've been there. So just pay attention. And the worst kind, I think, are the martyr kind of narters who, the martyr narcissists who just make it look like they're just, you need to feel sorry for them. And the pity play is it's something psychopaths do too. They want you to pity them, and that's how they get you. And do not pity people. Men, I've learned this from a man who wrote a handbook on how to deal with men, 50 ways to deal with men. It's 50 ways to see through men. He was like, men generally, if you're a woman, are not asking you for something. They're giving you something. So if a man is asking you for something, be very cautious. And that's in a chivalrous society. Things are changing, I know, but really, truly, think about it. Most men are trying to help me or offer me something or do something, but they're not trying to take something from me, drag me down, tear me down, tell me how awful I am, try to change my inner programming, try to fix me or help. I don't need to be fixed or helped. You don't need to be fixed or helped. You're just fine. You've got your own inner compass, really. It doesn't matter what disorder or disability you have, you're fine. Even narcissists, they're fine. You don't need to worry about them. They're gonna make it. They always do. God looks over everybody, right? I don't even believe in God, I believe in love. But I do pray every day, and I pray to love. And I do love that scripture, because I grew up in a religious family that says the sun shines on everybody, right? Shines on everybody, even criminals. So don't worry about them. You don't sit here taking care of somebody else's salvation over your own. This is something I wish I would have known, but you don't know it till you know it, and you lose your life, and then you have to fight your way back and crawl through, and then you're just grateful for every little thing. So, a little punk rock for you today. The universe wanted me to make another one for you guys, and I just keep feeling like, oh my God, somebody's gonna take this away. I won't be able to educate about narcissism, but that's okay. Maybe it will be fixed, either my issue or societal issue in a number of years. But we have a lot of work ahead of us, and we need everybody on board. So if anybody's not cooperating, it's like, dude, get off the boat. You're gonna make us sink. You're not with the team.